Hello, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited for today's guest. They are a fellow comedian, someone that I met almost at the very, very beginning of when I started doing stand-up. And they made it okay for me to wear sweatpants on stage, which I was so excited for. They also have one of my favorite jokes of all time, and I tell people it all the time. And he's also just a wonderful, sweet soul. The more I get to know him, the more I just fall in love with him. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Praetorius.
Hey. You're gonna make me cry over here real quick.
I fucking love you. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm surprised you still like that joke.
Of course. I was just thinking about it yesterday. I was like, God.
It's funny that I know exactly which one you're talking about, and I'm like, I haven't done stand-up in 2 years, and I still know.
It's been 2 years?
It's been a while. I think I did it once just so my girlfriend could see me do it.
Okay.
And that was right before COVID shut down.
Oh, okay.
But then she got fucking hammered because I didn't tell her I was going to do it. It was going to be a surprise. And doesn't remembers me being on stage. No jokes I told.
Oh,
but
that's so funny.
It's so good.
That's fucking hilarious. So I mean I have so probably one of your last sets on film then.
Yeah, probably. Oh God, that's crazy.
Yeah. Because I haven't shared any of the footage. Otrema keeps giving me shit that I have this big old amass of people's sets, and I haven't posted the video.
Holding it for blackmail.
No, I don't.
When they get famous.
There's a lot of shit that's associated with that night for me.
That's fair.
That was just such a weird amalgamation of things. People being supportive, so all these comics showing up, and then traditionally headliner goes last, but at an open mic, whoever people are there to see should go I don't know, fifth or sixth.
Yeah, usually right early middle.
Yeah, at the latest, because the later you're there, then people just start leaving because it's fucking. I mean, I think it was almost midnight by the time I got on
Well,
stage.
you almost get comedied out when you're seeing 15 different people.
Yeah, there were 18 people that night.
Yeah,
it's fucking bonkers.
That's crazy because you're oh, this is the best person. Oh, I want the crowd to stay because they're gonna want to see them. But unless the crowd actually knows who they are, they're gonna be man, I just can't do it. And then they're pissed off at you because there's no crowd there. And
yeah,
what do you do?
Well, and I mean, it used to work because there weren't always that many of us, so it used to be fine. Because traditionally, open mic, if you're in a hot city, then there's a fuckload of comics.
But there's also a fuckload of mics.
Yeah, that's true. That's another good point.
So
at least, for sure, way more than the St. Cloud area. Be dope if St. Cloud got a different mic, so we wouldn't have to see that one guy again.
Yeah, that would be swell. Also another reason, I don't have to do it right now. Instead,
I feel bad. I talk so much shit about him.
I mean, justified
all the time. But what can you do? But we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about you. So I'm curious, first of all, with you working at Keller and your girlfriend, Julie?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Nice. I was afraid I was going to say Jackie. I was that is not it.
No.
But with her being a part of the troupe, what is that line of being supportive and being afraid feel like? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's one where early on when it was first introduced, hey, she was yeah, I want to do this. I'm okay. And it takes something from my perspective where I'm very much yes, do your thing. Do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. Absolutely. I am supporting you. And then there's that part of me where it's I hate when people see her just as a sex object, which happens a lot because she bartends too now. So it's like she gets it all the time where dudes just, oh, hey, you're going to come back to my hotel? I got $500, like all this stuff. And it's like I hate you, one, because you're being super disrespectful to her. Two, because like this is someone who's like my whole life now. And you just view her as a piece of ass, where it's like she's funny, she's smart, she's like really caring and just an all around great person. And you're just like, I want to put my dick in it, and that's it. So it's like, so that's where it's hard. As far as like the burlesque side, I was never like worried per se, because like I know all the people in the troupe that she's joining. So I'm like, I was never like, oh, like she's gonna be in danger, or
okay,
or never. I know she's not going to be overtly sexualized in her troupe, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was very well known, like, that we were together. So like everyone's been super respectful of that. I just, yeah, it was more like, how is like people who don't know her, how are they going to treat her if they only see her doing burlesque?
Yeah.
Which is kind of was my main concern, but there's been no issues with it. She carries herself really well. And like I said, like just the support from all the friends and the troupe around. And it's like, we're performing like at the carpet. So it's like everyone there is like, either they're protective of me, or if they see someone like trying to make advances at her, they just shut that shit down right away. So it's a very like healthy environment to perform in also, which like calms nerves as someone who is emotionally invested in this person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the more that I talked to you guys, whether it was, Adrian and Annie, or you and Steve, and like there was this, I had this like massive sense of like pride with being like, I know these women, and like I know like society's views on like what, like Instagram models and all this shit that's being pushed onto people, and these girls look like the people that we date. They look like the people that we work with, and like for them to be performers on top of that is incredible. But then at the same time, I started getting freaked out by all of the like horrible shit that goes down at the red carpet. And then I was like, well, fuck, are those same people there on these nights that they're performing? Are these same people waiting to do some horrible shit to them? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's part dad brain, and like part of the anxiety is like, the more I know, the more afraid I am of certain things.
Right. And that's fair. But it's also like one where, again, working there and with our security staff that we have now, like there's like a zero tolerance. Like if a woman comes up and it's like, hey, he's bothering me, you're out. Like you're not even just out of that specific bar, you're out of the building. Like we're zero tolerance with it, and they all know that, and they're all, again, friends with us. So they're very supportive. And when we do have show nights, like it's the same thing. We all kind of watch out for each other, and it is one big family.
Well, good.
It's like one, and that's again where it's like, okay, I'm working upstairs. I'm not going to see her at all through the night or whatever. I know like, hey, there's people around here that are going to like keep her safe. And it's not just that with her, it's like all of my friends too that are performing or just out to see the performance and hanging out afterwards. Like there's always that anxiety in there, but I'm just high strung like that.
Yeah.
But
same.
so it takes a while for me to like calm myself. And it's like the day of, I'm usually like, oh my God, what if this? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? And then everything turns out being fine. So.
Well, that's good.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm just an anxious person.
Well, I mean, I hope that things continue to change in the St. Cloud area, because, I mean, the bad shit doesn't sound like it's gone away yet. Like there's still a decent amount of I'm not saying just at the red carpet, but like as far as like the sex trafficking shit goes, and like I mean the racial divide is one of those things that like is that you can feel the tension, but no one talks about it unless you're like on the far right and you're like fucking Somali Muslim.
Yeah. Which, again, like everyone, I hate when like someone posts an article like, oh, there's a shooting in a parking lot in St. Cloud, and then the people are like, I'm so glad I got out of there. St. Cloud has gone to shit. Like I'm like, well, you're not actually here. It's really not that bad. It's not as bad as what it gets made out to be, and that's everywhere, just downtown. It's like
I don't know, man. It's one of those. I
see, like the problem with like people downtown where we actually have like the most issues, just from what I see at the bar. It's like it's all people who don't live in St. Cloud that come up here.
Oh, okay.
And so like that's like the main issue is like, and then they think they run shit for whatever reason, or they want to act out or whatever it is, you know. Someone looks at them funny, or you talk to someone's girl, or some girl has beef with another girl and it turns into a fight. I don't know. Like,
okay.
But it's never like the people that like I personally see out all the time, whether it's, you know, at the carpet or I'm going to dinner somewhere or just out. Like if I have a night off, like they're not causing any problems, you know? So it's a weird thing where it's like, I don't think it's the St. Cloud people causing any issue. It's out of towners that wherever they decide to come from.
Sure.
Whether it's from up north or south, but
east, west.
Shit, they could come from southwest. Southwest. It's a new one.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I feel the stuff that I see and continue to hear, like anytime there's a car accident, it feels like there's a flood of people who are like, take this excuse to just shit on Somali people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe it's all like maybe it's all people that they do all their shit on the internet and they're not actively doing shit out in the neighborhoods and stuff.
Right.
Could be that. But I mean, there was that, on top of that, there was that fucking, what was that, like, ice cream shop or froyo? I don't know. Somebody that was saying, like, we don't hire non-binary people.
Oh, it was that, I don't even want to say the name of it because I don't want to give them publicity, but it was a place they were originally in the mall.
Okay.
And it's like a fried food ice cream place. And
Okay.
then they opened up by Walmart.
Okay.
And they had a huge thing like, we only hire people that are hard work. Basically, they're trying to say like, oh, if you lean left or you're not here to hard work, and oh, we don't support the LGBTs, basically, like
Jesus
then we
Christ.
don't want you to work here. And I'm just like, oh my God, like what the fuck kind of place is this? I'm like, it's not even like a big building, like it's drive-through only.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
hilarious.
It's like, so I can't even walk in there and be like, all right, square up. like, you know, I'm just like this is really like, you guys just opened and this is how you want to go about it in like a place where it's like people are struggling to find like people to hire, like employment. And that's how you, right off the bat, that's your business
Especially
plan.
in the food industry, people come in and out so quick, like regularly.
Right. So it's like, God damn, like y'all I don't want to say you got balls because you really don't.
Right.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's working out very well. But
But yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is like St. Cloud always surprises me with. It seems like shit is mellowed out, and then it's like the moon comes out, and all these people are like, "Oh, by the way, black people suck. You can't work with us if you're ginger or one of them gay lesbians."
Well, fucking St. Cloud's problem is it wants to be Minneapolis. It wants
Yeah.
to be a big city, but it also wants to be this hick town.
Yeah,
And so it's like, like what are you? Like, because then you get like Inner St. Cloud and it's very much like, oh, we're all like cool, like this is a good diverse population. And then you get the people who live just outside of St. Cloud that still say they live in St. Cloud that are like, we don't like them. We don't like your kind type people. We're going to go to Raleigh's and talk about how much we don't like them gay people.
That's so
and
funny.
it's just like we don't associate with them ever. And sometimes we'll see them at the bar and it's just like, go away. Like we actually don't want you in here. One, because we know you're probably going to start a fight because you're super homophobic or you hate black people or whatever you hate. And it's like, we're just trying to like have a safe environment here and y'all are just fucking it up.
Well, yeah, people. I didn't even think about that. People forget that like St. Cloud surrounding area, like every town surrounding St. Cloud is like damn near Farmville.
Yeah.
Like it's either Farmville or Redneck Town, like the whole thing. So of course, now that you mention it, like yeah, of course, like the people that go into St. Cloud are going to be all these like non-progressive individuals.
All I say with St. Cloud is like they elected Michelle Bachmann, like
the
area elected her like 4 times. So like that's all you have to say about like the county district, whatever you want to call it. Like it's not a good look when that's who you want to represent you.
Yeah.
So, but like I feel like it's getting better, but like it's tough being like where the younger generation is like, we're trying to be so progressive and make things better for everybody. And then you get the people that are still like holding these power positions and they're basically like influenced by the older generation of people that don't want change because that's going to negatively affect them. Well, but even though it doesn't, but they think it's gonna,
I mean, for some reason, they always think that it's going to affect, like, the economy somehow. I never understand.
That's the best one. It's like, gay people want to get married. Well, it's going to add to the debt in the national.
Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, so it's always, that part's always funny to me that, like, when I hear someone throw out it's going to be bad for business thing, I'm like, how? It's only bad for business if you come out and say you don't support these individuals.
Right, but it's like, is your business so one demographic of people that are just happen to be like the most non-progressive, hateful people you can find? So you got like 10% here, and that's all you're going into, and it's like, look at this demographic that you could be potentially having.
Well, I like
if
to
you
think
would just not be a piece of shit.
Like they think that like all of their customers are in the closet, and that like as soon as something happens where they say that they're non-supportive, they're like their whole customer base is going to go, well, we're all gay, so now we're not going to shop here anymore, or like I don't know what the fuck it is. Did you grow up in St. Cloud?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you go to Tech?
I did.
You did go to Tech. Now, from what I hear, because when did you graduate?
2013.
2013. Okay, so it might have changed by then, but like, from what I remember, like, there was a lot of hostility at that school too.
Oh, so much.
And I could never really figure out where it was coming from. Because there were so many different walks of life that went to that school that, I mean, I would hear kids like say ridiculous shit about, again, Somali kids, obviously. They wash their feet in the sink. They're fucking filthy. It's like, there's no way that can be true, first of all. Second of all, your school seems to be pretty mixed with kids. Or am I crazy? Is it mostly honkies?
No, it is a huge mix.
That's what I thought.
Like it was like, and like my graduating class is one of the smallest ones. Like we like in history, like we just had a little over 300 in my class.
Okay.
And yeah, like it was a huge mix, but there was also very much like it was very the cliques and to the extreme, like what you'd see on like a TV show or whatever. It was very much like, here's Hicks who farm, here's Hicks who work on cars, you know, like here's jocks who are also Hicks, and then here's jocks who like are friends with black people, and then like, but then it was weird because like the black population almost wanted to spill off from like, don't associate us with the Somali population in high school.
Oh, okay.
So it was weird. I think is what I want to say it as, because like I never like fit into one clique. I kind of chameleoned it. Like I did sports, so like I was friends with jocks, but I also like nerd shit, so I could hang out with nerd people. I was like really smart, so I got in with like kind of those. But it's like it was so like trying to like basically being able to bounce around, you like hear what everyone says about the other. And the one I never got into was like the farming or car stuff. That wasn't me.
Sure.
But like I still had some of them in classes, so I could find some middle ground to talk about. But you know, like it was bad. It happened after I graduated, I think the year or two after, where like there were so many fights between like the Somali students and like wanting like their prayer time, and why do they get special treatment? Why do they get to leave class to go do this, but we can't do this? And so it actually ended up being like students walked out and like protested outside of the school, and the school went into a lockdown. Like the Somali students walked out.
Oh, okay.
And like there was like family protests outside of it. And yeah, like the school went in lockdown for like 3 hours because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because it's all like parents spilling this shit down. Because I remember when like the majority of like the Somali population like came to Minnesota and St. Cloud, and the weirdest like, I mean, like conspiracy theories about what was going to happen. Like people thought that they were going to take over St. Cloud somehow. Like these are not like rich investors that are coming into your town, dude. Like they're fucking seeking asylum because their country is in shambles right now. Like,
and I like that you brought that up because like in high school, like I wasn't like super supportive. Like I got what I heard from at home. Like as a kid, like you just grow up and you're like, oh, like my parents are saying this, like, or like my friend's parents are saying this, or this person like that I view and like on this pedestal almost is saying this. So it's like, oh, it must be true. And then you graduate and you like actually like have to work with this person, or you have to like you're around this demographic, and then you kind of create your own like, oh, like these people are great, like I'm just fine with them type thing. But definitely even like for me in high school, it was hard because it's like, oh, all of my friends don't like this population, like my parents are saying stuff about them, so I'm like, well, I'm not like against you, but I'm not defending you type of thing.
Oh, sure. God, what did they call that? There's a term for it.
Yeah, I don't.
Where you like you're sitting idly by.
Yeah,
like
almost like a bystander.
Yeah, bystander, but it's like willful ignorance is kind of what
something
I'm looking
like
for. That. But I mean, I got swept up into it eventually too because of similar things. Like it just got said so much around me, and I had one negative experience, and I based the entire St. Cloud population on this one experience. And then, but I never like acted on it. And like, obviously, I never like was like fuck Somalis or anything like that. I just like held this shitty thought in the back of my head. And then after the St. Cloud, the mall stabbing happened, my first thought was, oh, things are about to get 10 times worse for that community now.
Right.
Rather than being like, you know, whatever. I don't even know if I was being racist, but I just wasn't, kind of like you, like I just wasn't being supportive and just whatever. But after that, I spent 2 days with different sections of the Somali community just to be like, why do I think this way, or why do people treat them this way? And like I went to the Somali market, that gas station.
Yep.
Yeah, went there. Everyone was real cool. The only mistake that I made was I pulled my camera out and they got freaked out. I think they thought that I was there to like investigate or something. And I was like, I tried my best to like let them know that it's not what it looks like. And
right.
They busted out their cameras and like took pictures of my license plate. And I was like, so I put my camera away and like walked up to them. It was like everything was cool by the time I left, but like, it's that scary for them that just a camera popping out and they're like, oh, fuck, everybody,
Right.
But yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but, with the thought process that you had. Like, do you remember hearing a friend say something and being like, I'm not good with this anymore?
Yeah, but I don't think it was till after high school.
Okay.
And it's like that among, I'd say multiple platforms where it's like, even if I look at the LGBTQ community, like growing up in the church, like they're bad.
Oh, that's right.
They're not good people.
Is it your dad that's a pastor?
Yeah. And
Fuck, I forgot about that.
So it took me literally like life experience where like now, like I'd say 3 of my 5 best friends are gay. And so I'm like, it took me so much and it takes a lot of work, like on your own part. Like it just doesn't come like from exposure, being with them. It's like, all right, like these are like, they're good people and they're better people than what I grew up with. And I think it was like, I definitely started dropping friends, but like, after high school, you don't see people like that you grew up with a lot anymore unless you actively try to.
Right.
And so it took me, moving out was big for kind of my own personal growth with it. And then, being exposed to whether it's people I work with or, just people that are friends of my friends that I started hanging out with more, and that grew into like really healthy relationships and then a really healthy outlook on like how I view like groups of people in general that in my entire life growing up had been deemed bad, dirty, like
my parents
anti everything, type stuff. So
my parents would do that whole love the sinner, not the sin thing. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my parents were like the nicest people, but they held this bullshit in the back of their head, and it's so yeah. Because my dad, he wasn't the fuck was he? Oh yeah, he was a bishop. He was like a pastor at a church, but the way that Mormons do it is like they cycle through. It's like it's kind of like being elected, but nobody actually votes on it. It's just somebody prays about it and. Eeny, meeny, miny, God picks you.
Gotcha.
So, and then, they have to kind of like volunteer and be the pastor for a year to 3 years, something like that. So they are obviously like balls deep in the Mormon church, but it took like a lot of shit for them to see that, like, I mean, it's still like fairly recent, like, you know, like 2000. I'm trying to remember, when did the gay marriage thing pass? Was that 14?
I couldn't tell you top of my head.
But
see, that's one thing where it's like with that, where like that's something that's like, this is good, it's great, but I don't remember it. Where if you ask someone in that community, they're like, this is the year, this is the date. And because it affected them so much and so greatly that it was like, it's a monumental date for them and their community. Whereas like for me, it's like, I'm really happy for my friends. And everyone else, like, thank fuck this finally happened. But it's like, I don't remember it.
Sure.
Because it didn't like get to me that personally.
Yeah.
You know? And it's weird how that like works with everybody.
That was the year that like I really started losing friends. Is like, because I made a lot of friends outside of high school. Like I was pretty done with majority of the kids that I went to high school with. And then, but I didn't know that I had made these, like, they were closeted in their own right. Like, they were closeted as far as, like, their, I don't want to say, like, liberalism, but, like, they're just too, they were closeted about how shitty their views on the world really were, because it never came up.
Right.
We lived these lives where you didn't have to, as a, you know, white privilege. Like, we don't really have to, if you're a hetero white dude, like, there's not a lot of adversity that you're going through.
Right.
And so I just didn't know. And then gay marriage stuff started coming out, and and I was like, what the fuck? Like, we've been through so much together, and now that's who you are? Like, this is the hill you want to die on? And yeah, so there was just a wave, and then it happened again when the Trump thing happened. It's like, fuck, man. Why couldn't we just not? So, I mean, the adversity that white people go through is finding out that their friends suck, really.
Yeah. No, that's actually, yeah. Which, you know, is so minuscule compared to everyone else's, and it takes a lot to like realize that. But
yeah, like I can't be Facebook
but when you
friends.
have people that oh, I'm gonna unfriend them, that'll show them. God damn. But now, like when you have people that you have such strong personal connections to, like being affected by them, then that's when you start to realize, like, okay, like this is huge. Like, it's not affecting me, but it's affecting them, and I'm really happy for them. So, and that's where I draw a lot from. It's like, if, like, in the past year, like, I've had a couple friends pass away, and I wasn't, it's like, as close to them as a lot of the other people around me. So I'm like, it didn't affect me too much, but what affected me was seeing all of my friends' reactions to it and how much it affected them. And that's where I was like, I'm hurting more for you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like, it's,
well, you're very empathetic.
Yes. And so, that takes me a while to get over, like, just out of that cloud where it's like, and it's still to this day where it's like, you can still see friends affected by it. And it's like, I'm like, I can't like hide it. Like I have so much love for you guys that it hurts me to see you guys in so much pain. Like when people just go like, oh, sorry for your loss. It's like, no, I'm feeling like it's actually happened to like someone I'm insanely close to.
Yeah.
Because I'm that close to like the people that it happened to, which is weird for me to kind of talk about and like think about right now, because it's like, holy shit. Like,
well, I mean, I learned that technically is like a version of like codependency, because you feel like you should be able to make them feel better in whatever situation, which is dumb. Who gives a shit? It sounds like a good thing to me, so I don't I have accepted certain aspects of my codependency because it's like, well, it fucking helps way more than it hurts. So
Yeah, like with
I don't
that,
give a
it's not like, it's not like when people hear codependent, they're like, oh my God. It has such a negative context around it.
well, and it's always like associated with like a relationship, like
Right.
your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like, no, you can be codependent with friends, and it can be very healthy codependency. It's when stuff gets taken to that extreme where it's like, without them, you're going to self-harm, or you're going to go on this downward spiral, or like when it starts getting there, that's when you need to evaluate. But like, I think
the ownership thing, when they feel like they have a right to or deserve this aspect of you,
right?
And it's like, So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Look at you picking my brain.
Oh, I mean, this is what I wanted to do.
I have trouble forming words sometimes, so bear with it.
I also have trouble forming words.
Words with friends. It's the title of the
word was
the title of the episode.
Yeah. Like quickly, like if you remember, do you remember what the first show was like after? Because what was that performer's name that passed away?
Tanya.
Do you remember like the first show after they had passed away?
No, because I wasn't I was working that night.
Oh, okay.
I was working in a different bar. I do remember like how everyone was before it, though.
Okay.
Like leading up, and you could tell it was like, you could feel just the weight of everyone's emotions in that moment. And, you look around, it's like when someone's like trying to keep it together, like stay like in this, like a mindset that they can actively like do their job or perform in, or just be out in public in.
Mm-hmm.
You could sense a lot of that. But no, that first performance, I was not around for it. And it's probably for the best, because I would have been a fucking wreck.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's like fucking common roots went after Ian passed away.
Yeah. That one was really tough. And it's kind of the same thing where it was like, both of them were a week before.
Yeah.
So, or like whatever it was, but it was very soon,
close.
Soon after. And so, as far as the common roots one, for me, that one was tough because we had just gone to like Ian's wake earlier that day.
Oh, that's right. Earlier that day.
And then like kind of came back, and, you get into the mindset it's supposed to be a fun weekend. We're kicking off this amazing weekend for the St. Cloud area and performers and businesses, and you're trying to keep that positive note. And I just remember after we kind of did our 1 minute talking about Ian in what would have been his set time, I just remember like walking off stage and going directly into the green room, and Alex just happened to be there, and I just lost it.
Ugh.
I don't think I've ever hugged anyone so tight, and like it was like where your nose is squished and you can feel the snot like running straight, and like the tears aren't even flowing because they're being absorbed into the other person's clothing. Like that's what it was. And
it looks like a wet moth landed on them.
The most disgusting moth. But no, like that was hard. And then to kind of try to, compose myself from that moment to now like going back out to watch like an amazing burlesque show.
Oh yeah.
Like, so it was, God, I'm like thinking about it. But
I mean, that was so intense. I mean, we found out, I think he passed away on a Tuesday. So the next day was the open mic.
Yeah.
I remember like watching Max like walking around doing his thing and being like, hey man, everything okay? And he was just so like out of it.
Mm-hmm.
and seemed like he was trying to keep his mind off of it and focusing on like doing anything else but having to deal like because if you slow down then it all sets in. Like it seemed like he's one of those types of people, like that's the way he grieves, is like he tries to avoid it as much as possible, and then if he stops for a second then it's all just gonna
Yeah. Well, that was one, like the day that we all found out, like at the time I lived like 5 minutes away from him, and like he messaged me, he's like, dude, you just want to like come over? And I'm like, yeah, like it was that point, it was like just being with somebody who shares in what you're feeling.
yeah.
It's weird that there's comfort in that.
Oh yeah, trauma bonding.
Yeah. What we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like and that's what trauma bonding, it's weird. It's a weird concept. It's a weird thing to, especially when you look back at the time, it's so natural and it's so, what's the word I want?
It's a
healing.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
But then, you look back on it, you're like, it's a weird experience. It's a weird like thing
it's like listening to a sad song when you're sad. Like
that's my life. You're
right?
coming at me.
Yeah. So when you're with other people who are, that they're grieving on the same level that you're at, and so you don't have to say as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when somebody finds out that a friend passed away of yours, there's a lot of questions. Like, what did you guys do together? What were they like and all that shit. So you're kind of giving a synopsis on this person that meant a lot to you. Whereas with somebody who knew them, you don't have to say as much. You can kind of sit in this, like, I don't know. It's interesting because sometimes it's like this, like almost fuzzy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And other times it's like the fun has been sucked out of the both of you and you're just like, you just need to be zombies on a couch.
Right. Well, yeah. So to kind of go back, like, I don't know what that first show was like. The ones afterwards, like, you can tell there's for me anyway, like if I seem like there's still some pain there.
Some residuals.
Yeah. But, as they say, like time heals all, but like it's still harder, but it gets, I don't know. It's kind of like,
it's weird with artists because they want you to keep doing the
right
thing. Like they that they would never be like, yeah, you guys, I'm gone. So everybody should just stop and not do the thing that we love doing together anymore.
Right.
So it's a weird thing to like try and push through that and be like, I know this is what you want me to do, but it fucking sucks doing it when you're not here.
Well, what's tough for me as someone who wasn't as close, but like still feel the pain, feel it more for my friends, and how all your friends grieve differently. And so it's hard as someone who, like you want to be there for your friends, but that's not what they need at the time. Where some of them are like, I don't want to talk anything about it. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about what happened. Like, just leave me alone and talk about normal, like almost like just everyday life stuff.
Yeah.
You almost have to talk with them like nothing happened at all, even though you can tell they're greatly affected. And then some friends want to talk about all of it.
Yeah.
And so you have to be kind of able to gauge where your friends are at or what's acceptable to say or what's acceptable to. Sometimes you don't have to talk at all. It's just, here's a hug. Like, get whatever you need off your chest. If it's nothing, fine. And then you just kind of go on as normal.
Yeah.
And it's weird trying to learn what friends need what.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about that. That is a weird thing.
Yeah. Because like some people want to distract by like just going out to, I guess couldn't at the time. Like some people want to like go to a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Take like, for me, like I want to be like around people I love. If I lose somebody, you know, that helps me cope. But maybe someone that I want to be around who also lost the same person doesn't want to be around anybody. So for me, like personally, I have to be like, okay, I know what I need, but I can't force that upon them. So like I need to find other channels to try to get to until I can have that moment with them, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a weird
Do you want to scoot your chair forward a little bit? Sorry. I don't know if this happens to you, but like whenever I've lost somebody, I don't want to be around my family.
Oh, never.
Right? Like, I don't know why that is, but
It's like even like it's weird and kind of maybe shitty to say for some people. It's like even when like I lost my grandpa a few years ago, I didn't want to go to the funeral. I didn't want to be around my family at all. Like that's not how like I wanted to handle it.
Yeah.
But I had to because that's what looks good for the rest of the family, you know?
Right.
So that was a little more challenging for me because it's like you're out of your comfort zone. But yeah, no, like that was the thing. Like I saw my grandpa at like holidays.
Oh, okay.
And like kind of major like weddings, major family events, or all that. But like we were never that close. And so, you know, it doesn't hit me as hard as it hits someone else in my family.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was one of those where I'm like, I wanted to more so like distract myself from the things of his passing, not being around stuff that reminds me of his passing.
Oh, yeah.
Like I wanted to just work. I wanted to be at home playing a video game or building a puzzle or anything that's like actually takes your mind focus to do. Yeah. You know? So I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know what that I'm not quite sure what that feeling is, but like it seems like almost every time that I've had like a major passing happen in my life, the first people I go to are my friends versus my family.
Oh, every time.
Yeah, and even if they're not close to or don't know whoever I'm talking about or lost or whatever, like, yeah, there's just something about like, and I don't know if it's like being able to say fuck or like talk in ways that, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't have to like tiptoe around whatever it is I want to say. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because family, you definitely have to.
There's certain things that like I couldn't make a death joke like right out of the gate with my family, but with a friend, the right friend, of course.
Right.
You could make some fucked up joke because that's part of the grieving process, but yeah.
No, yeah, family's weird to me. I'd rather spend time with my chosen family than the birth one.
Every time. That's so funny because somebody was just talking about that on a podcast I was listening to where they were talking about how like the saying that you can't pick your family, like, so you can't, you can't turn your back on your family, that kind of whole talk or whatever. And it's like, I mean, but why? Yeah. Like we give this excuse for kids who are adopted, right? Where we're like, no, they don't have to be blood. They're family now. Like why is it not on the flip to be like, I'm good with whatever that is?
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, mom and dad, you're super homophobic again, and like actually actively trying to kill my lifestyle. You're not family anymore. Like, here's my family now. Yeah. Like, why is that such a hard thing for? Yeah. I think it's a lot of, I'd say like the generation before you.
Yeah.
Like, so like people in their like 40s, 50s, it's such a hard thing for them to wrap their head around. And whereas most of the newer ones are like, yeah, like we're 100% on board with this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, let's be honest, like chosen families are way, like, I think they're healthier.
Yeah.
Like, because.
Or they can be. Like, eventually, I mean, you have to go through. It's just like trying to understand your real family. Like, if you didn't get along with your brothers and sisters when you were younger, it takes some getting used to as you grow. And it's the same thing when you're picking your own family. Like, you try to assemble what you think is going to be good for you, and then you're like, later on you find out, maybe this isn't so good. So you go with a new batch of friends, or just focus more of your energy on the people who are positive in your life.
Right. Well, yeah. No, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
Because if you think about like,
well, yeah, because like someone who,
if you were to have stuck with just your friends from high school, like, do you think you would be who you are now?
no, I'd be a piece of shit. and that's not like a knock on them. Like some of them are still like great people, but it's like for my own personal growth, like.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I would have been awful. Like I would have hated me. Like even like looking back, like if you go like, oh yeah, I would have hated me in high school. How did I have friends? You know? But,
yeah. The few people that I've talked to about me being in high school, I was such a weird fucking kid. Like, yeah.
You still are, Chris, dude.
I'm weird for sure, but I'm so much more understanding and like have a grip on.
Yeah, y'all can't see. Chris is wearing Crocs right now.
Yeah, I have a grip on why I am the way that I am.
Right.
Versus when I was a kid, like this is all over the place. I had no fucking idea. But anyways, so here's the hard topic. How old were you when you moved out?
18.
And did you move in with someone right away?
Yep.
Was this a girlfriend or friends?
It was a girlfriend, yeah.
Okay. Do you mind talking about, like, when did you guys start dating? And
we started dating in high school. I was 16. We were both 16.
Okay.
But I was a grade older. But like,
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, started seeing each other then. Things were completely fine, and then my parents found out that we were sexually active, and then they hated her.
Oh.
And vice versa, her parents hated me. So there was that. She ended up moving out from her parents were divorced, moving out from her dad's place because he was a huge piece of shit, without going into it, just a piece of shit. And so when I turned 18, I actually ended up moving in with her at like the basement of her mom's place.
Oh, okay.
Instead of going to college.
Oh.
Yeah. Which my parents were furious. But like even before then, like that summer I was like, I'm 18, I'm doing what I want. Like whatever, I would be gone for 3 days and then, come home, and just one night came home at like 3 a.m. and my parents changed the locks on me.
Whoa. That's intense.
Yeah. So I ended up like walking like 5 miles to her place. A week later, like I'm grabbing all my stuff out of the room.
Wow.
At my parents' place. Moved in. Yeah, then I was like, okay, I have to get a job. So I did that, and then I don't even know how long I was moved in for. Maybe like a year. Maybe
okay.
Like a year and a half.
Are you saying moved in with her?
My yeah.
Okay.
But then like our relationship started falling apart. Like I'll own my own thing. Like I wasn't like super great. Like I was working overnights. like still being asked to like do a bunch of stuff during the day where it's like, all right, well, I still have to like work and sleep. And so like I wasn't great at like trying to spend time or getting stuff done around the house, or definitely, lack of sleep. I was angry a lot or more irritable.
Yeah.
So kind of like just like snap stuff that you say at the time. So like we started like fighting a lot, and then she ended up being like really physically abusive.
And I'm curious, like, when did that start? And I don't know if that stuff like blurs together eventually, or if you recall the first, like, when they started testing those physical boundaries.
That's hard because it does get blurred, but it's like I don't know if I can like give you a defining moment, because like it starts as like it's nothing almost. Like you don't think twice about it. Like oh, this is fucked up, or this is
Well, slapping your boyfriend was so acceptable for so long.
right. And so that again, it's like oh, this isn't a real thing. Like, or I've definitely found there's been times where I just like kind of block stuff out.
Sure.
To where it almost like feels like it's real. It didn't happen. But really what started being like, there are times where it was like becoming a real issue. Like if I'm going to like pick out like a couple points, would be like I would be going to work with like bruises and cuts on my face. And to like have my boss be like pulling me aside, like, we're going to go talk for like an hour. Like, so that was one that was very like, yeah, this is not okay. And I don't know, there'd be times where it's like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not fighting you right now. I'm just going to go like lay down, like sleeping on the couch, and woke up to an entire bottle of ketchup being like unloaded on me while I'm sleeping.
The fuck?
Yeah. Which to some people like could be like, oh, that sounds funny.
It would be a prank if the other shit wasn't happening.
Yeah. But like for me, that was very much like, what the fuck? Like I'm literally just trying to like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just passed out.
Yeah.
And it was very much like that was where codependency was bad.
Oh, okay.
I'll say in my life, because it was very much like, what do I do? Like I've destroyed this relationship with my parents. I'm
Bosh! Just as we're getting super fucking serious.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, it was like I had ruined this relationship with my parents. Like, so it's like, where do I go from here? Like, I definitely felt stuck. I had very little money, couldn't save anything up. It was very paycheck.
Well, I mean, you're still a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. People like throw that adult thing. If you can still say teen at the end of the number, then I'm not saying we should treat all teenagers the same,
right.
but I feel like they should be given the grace to be like, this is new. This adult thing is brand fucking new.
Right.
We can't expect them to just flip a switch and like know that they can have all these resources or know that they can have all this shit. Like, you very much feel like the weight of the world is all on you now. Because if you admit to something, then you're saying, oh, I'm not ready to be an adult now.
Right. And so, yeah, I, again, just felt stuck. Like, I had just gotten a puppy.
Oh.
Like, and so I'm like, well.
Is that the dog that's at your parents' house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very much like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? I don't know what to do. And then kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was I was driving to therapy with my counselor, and like we shared a car. Car, like literally like turning onto the road where my therapist's place was, something breaks down in the car.
Oh.
Shit's fucked. Like, it's done. And she like blamed it all on me. Like every single thing, like, well, you shouldn't have been doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's your fault. Like, all this stuff. And I was like, for some reason, I was just like, I'm done. Like,
Wow.
I can't. And I actually like called my sister and I was like, can you come pick me up and bring me back to mom and dad's? And she was like, huh? I'm like, I'm grabbing my stuff. Can you pick me up? And she did. And then like I left probably 80% of my stuff because I was like, I'm not taking any time to do this. I was like, you can fucking have it for all I care. You can burn it. You can keep it. I don't care. Like, I'm done. And so she picked me up, brought me to mom and dad's.
Was she trying to get you to stay, or was she being dismissive?
No, she was. Who?
Your ex.
Oh, she was trying to get me to stay.
She was, okay.
Yeah. And, you know, even for a little bit after we moved in, I'd say like a few months, like, so I had her pick me up, bring me back to my parents, stayed there, ended up going back, very fucked up in the head at the point, ended up going back, because I was like, I'm not ready to like live here. Ended up living with a friend I worked with for like a month.
Okay.
And then, and this is like all in like the winter time. I think like right after Christmas, I was like, Mom and Dad, I have nowhere to go. Like very, like humiliated.
Yeah.
Very like, yep, congrats, you guys were right type thing. Like,
yeah,
I need a place. And they actually let me move back in, surprisingly.
When it came, like,
which is weird.
Were you able to talk to anybody about the shit that had happened?
No. Like, my therapist ended up moving to like Mankato.
Oh God.
And at that point it was like, I don't like, you can share records all you want, but it's like, I've known this guy since I was, 16.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to anyone else. Like, I don't want to try to rebuild that at that point in time,
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds shitty to me. So I really didn't do much. And it's one thing where you're like, you just feel like I was just constantly in this just dull state. Like, nothing really brought joy to me outside of like my dog. So I very much bonded with her. And then eventually, like, I start going out more. Like, now I'm 21, so I can go out, and reconnected with some friends that I hadn't seen in forever, and kind of rebuilt some of those friendships that, you lose when you're so blinded into someone else. Thankfully. And, just started going out more. Still very much like, I'm really sad all the time, but this makes things feel better.
Yeah.
Almost. And then, started, then Max hit me up about doing comedy one time, or I think he shared the event to me. Okay. Like, hey, we're starting this mic. And I like went the first night, like, yeah, like, I like comedy stuff. I'll check it out. And I think, met Ian that night, and that's when I talked to him about like wanting to do it, and he's like, yeah, just do it. Came back next week writing some shitty ass jokes.
Always.
And the rest is history with that. But like, I don't know, it's something I'm not like uncomfortable talking about. Like, I've made jokes about it on stage, and stuff, but it's like it's still hard to like look back and be like, God, you were stupid for staying there. But then I'm like, oh yeah, like this is why. Like, what else do you do?
Well, and I mean, how could you possibly know how to actually deal with that? I mean, when you're in like your first life-changing relationship, like
Right.
where there's true like life events that I'm assuming you'd never lived on your own before.
Right.
I mean, those are huge milestones that you attribute to this person. And so when your brain associates that, like, oh, I mean, I really only could do this because I had a partner that was, sharing in rent and all these things. And then, so the concept of trying to do it by yourself seems terrifying.
Right.
And then on top of that, what's wrong with me that this person that I loved turned against me, and did I make them do this shit? Like what's you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, exactly. And this is where like mental health with dudes, that's why I like talking to you. It's like no one's gonna believe me if I tell them this shit. Like as far as most of society is, like guys can't be, physically abused
yeah.
like by their partners, or they can't be sexually abused by their partners, or
And I mean, our society for so long was like, would say, so what if they did hear it?
right.
They'd be like, well, fine, hit them back then. Or like, be a man about it. Like for some reason, you're in complete control of,
Right.
I don't know.
Or it's like, oh, be a man about it and don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Guys don't talk about their feelings. That's not a trait that a real man has,
When I would hear, like early on in Kim and I's marriage, when I would hear people, so this is back in 2006, 2007, when I would hear people make jokes about slapping their boyfriends or slapping their partners, I was like, that's the only thing like that I definitively said to Kim, like, that's what ends it. If either of us becomes physical with one another, that's fucking over. That should never be in the back of your mind as, I'm so angry right now, the only thing that I can do is hit you.
Right.
Like, that should never become a reflex. I don't want that to ever fucking happen. And the amount of women that would be like they were dismissive. Like, what? I'm not supposed to slap him if he's being an asshole? Like, no,
Yes.
you're fucking not.
Like, you don't do that. I'll even take it, like, since it's something so personal to me, like, there is, I'm not on TikTok by any means, but I've seen the stuff shared on Instagram or what people, it's like, hey, ladies, record yourself, like, reaching, like, it's funny, go like reach in the back of your car, and when you like bring your purse forward, like hit your man in the back of the head with it and see how he reacts. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, to me, that's not funny at all. That's like you're physically purposely hurting someone who's doing nothing
Yeah.
because you think it's funny. It's like, that's not funny to me.
No.
Like, even like, and like I've told Julie about this stuff early on, so like she knows, but I'm like, even if it's like oh, if I accidentally, like, it's a reflex if like my toes are cold and I accidentally put them on you, like, don't slap my ankle away because that's gonna like trigger something in me.
Oh, sure.
So it's like, it's that personal to where I'm like, no, like,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I don't know why I had that thought, but like, for some reason early on, I never saw my parents hit each other. Like, they would yell, but never ever did I see them get physical with each other. And so I don't know if I just had that thought, but then the more I kept hearing about people doing it, they just kept solidifying, like, why on earth would we think that, and why would you put that on someone to where I'm going to hit you and you need to deal with it?
Right.
This is something that of course I'm going to do this. You're the one that needs to figure out how to like handle it and be okay with it. Whatever coping mechanism.
Because it's your fault.
Yeah.
You made me hit you type. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, just have self-control.
Yeah.
Like,
one, it's the shit that if it was a role reversal, that's the immediate red flag. Where if you hear a man say, "You made me do this," all women everywhere go, no.
which I mean, as they should.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
like,
for it to be so common for women to be hitting their, and I mean, I haven't done a poll recently, but like early on in our marriage, way too fucking common. I honestly can't think of a couple that I knew that they didn't like wasn't okay for the wife to slap them or punch them in the arm too. Like that was always a thing. You could slap them or you could punch them in the shoulder. And those were the two things that your wife was just allowed to do for some reason. Super fucking weird.
Well, and I'll take this like going back where it's like it's not just like a physical hit here and there. Like like there'd be like times where if I was arguing with my ex-girlfriend, she would straight up like grab and get this like stranglehold on my balls and like hold them, and like I couldn't move anywhere. It was very, because like it hurt so much. Like the slightest movement was like so much physical pain to where I was to the point where I'm like, I have to sit here and I can't move. It's like I've never, like looking back and even now, I've never felt so
helpless.
Like, yeah, just defenseless, just at the will of another person. Like I'm like, what do I do in this? I have to wait until you're done, basically. Wow. And it's, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But like, so again, it's not just a hit or a slap. It can be that. It's like on the flip side, like, like if a man's like holding a woman down, like total weight on you, you can't move, like just feeling that helpless.
Yeah, that it instills so much more than, I know if you move, it's going to hurt like crazy. Like, it's not like giving somebody like a titty twister and you're just like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's a fear thing.
Yeah, that's also because they're looking you in the eye. Mm-hmm. They're like, when the guy pins the girl down, they're looking right into your fucking eyes. And so the only thing that I've had that's comparable to that, I'm a tiny guy. I used to work at a paper mill where it was a bunch of big fucking, they've done nothing but manual labor their entire lives, big burly dudes. And this one time somebody was dusting down, so they would use this air hose to get rid of, because there's paper, debris fucking everywhere. But when they would do that, it would fuck up this machine, and I would have to stop what I was doing. Whereas he could have waited 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so I was to this guy, I'm like, Greg, you got to stop, dude. Greg. And I just kept repeating his name. And he picked me up and just tossed me. And as soon as that happened, I was like, I own a house. I'm married. I have a kid. Like, but I'm nothing. Like, anybody here could do this. And it just, all of that just sinking in at once was like, oh my God, I'm completely powerless.
Yeah.
If any type of altercation ever happened with anybody here. So then I was like I felt like a mouse. Like, to him, it was nothing. He just did that quick and then went right back to what he was doing. And then went off into some other area. Like, didn't faze him at all. But to me, now I'm just a child.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah. Well,
I think the only time where I've ever felt like that was ironic. It was at a concert. I was at a festival, and it was Slipknot was playing. So
fuck MGK.
Yeah, for real. Like, why? Like, little tangent here. Why? Why would you do that? Like, you finally have gotten like a rock like people to accept you, and then
Yeah.
you just go and start dissing Slipknot from like why? Like why? Anyway.
Well, and it's such a petty thing to do because he knew that Corey Taylor had turned him down, and
yeah.
instead of just being like, "Fuck, what a bummer," he thought that he could get the upper hand somehow.
Okay, well, here's the thing. He also did it at a festival where Slipknot just headlined the day before. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Like, that's
So
just
funny.
stupid. But no. So Slipknot was playing, and like the crowds are intense.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm big. At that point in time, I'm 260 pounds at the show, and people are so packed in so tight, and the crowd is moving so much that my feet physically weren't on the ground.
Holy shit.
Like, I am just in a sea of people floating around. I'm not touching anything. And I just remember like trying desperately, like, you know, if you're swimming, like you're like going under and you're like just trying to get your toes to touch the bottom somehow.
Oh my God.
That was me in that situation. I was just like, holy fuck, I do not like this. And I love being in shows. I love being in that crowd atmosphere. And I just remember for like 10 seconds being like, I hate this. I need to find solid ground or I'm going to lose it.
That's so funny because I would rather do 20 death walls than have that happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with running full speed at somebody, but if I'm helpless like that, yeah, ugh.
Like, it was
that
actually
goes
terrifying.
Back to the for some reason, the association when it comes to a female abusing a male is that as long as it's only physical, then men don't care. Like, for some reason that, like, because we're these like beasts, that if it's just a physical thing, we're like, meh, whatever. But I mean, the mental, like, the implications that go along with her grabbing your genitals and just holding on and staring at you is so much more than it. Even if you had that viewpoint before, something like that happens where you are immobilized, all of that goes out the window.
Right. And
what was it like trying to have relationships after that? Like, did you date anybody after her?
Like
in between, I mean, sorry.
No. I did for like a month, and the person that I was dating at the time, I told her, I was like, and it was very like cliche. I was like, look, like, this literally has nothing to do with you. You are wonderful. It is just bad timing for me. I'm like, I mentally am not ready for this. And I'm like, I'm telling you now out of like respect for you, because I don't want you to cling to something, like waste your time essentially. Like it's gonna hurt you now. It hurts me to do it because now I've actually had to look in the mirror at myself and be like, you're not ready for this at all. To like for me to become that self-aware with it hurt me.
Yeah.
In a sense, but I was like, I'm doing this so like it won't hurt you as much down the road. Like I felt really bad about it, but it was one of those where it was like, I'm not ready. You're ready for someone. Do your thing. Like, don't let me hold you down. And then she started dating someone like a little bit later, and now they're married. So it's like,
oh, okay.
The story does have a happy ending.
Oh, good. Well, I mean,
but no, like outside of that, no. I didn't actively try to date anybody. I didn't care about dating anybody. I
mean, I remember when I first started going to the Keller, like, there was always these, I mean, the way that you would tell your jokes and the jokes that people would make about you, like getting STDs and being a man whore and all these things. And like, after you had given me a little glimpse of this story, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever that was, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense because, and I don't even know if you were even that sexually active, but the unknown that happens, like, just thinking about a relationship, you just see that room. and all of the horrible things that could happen in that room.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing when I have a place to go, like we see each other, I'm going to go back to my place, but when we start dating, how long until you're going to want to move in? How long until all of these things? Like I had a shit relationship before Kim, and I think like a lot of the self-sabotage and bullshit that I did was part of that too. I was like, well, if I fuck it up, then I can be like, yeah, of course, I always do this, rather than letting somebody else hurt me, and because then I really have no control again.
Right. Well, I mean, kind of going back, like, it's funny that everyone made all those jokes about me because, like, I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, especially compared to the people making the jokes at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. The really funny thing about it is, like, you know, when I started doing comedy, is like, I'm going to meet girls. Like, they're going to think I'm funny. This is going to be cool. No. I stopped doing comedy. And I get an awesome girlfriend.
Well, dude, it's funny. Like, if you're a successful comedian, sure. But open micers, they just think we're fucking weirdos.
Well.
For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's a weirdo to somebody.
Yeah. But the people that go to where we were performing.
Oh, yeah, weirdos. Some of them nice weirdos.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of them absolute pieces of shit. But, like,
yeah,
that's another day.
Yeah. So, I mean.
But no, like, I don't know. It's funny. Like, you know, can't, God, looking back at some of those, it's like, God, what was I doing? I would literally, like, go to comedy, get hammered, and go home. Like that was it. Like, yeah. I wasn't doing anything cool. You know, it was just being just a bunch of guys being dudes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird to look back on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so when Julie comes along, I mean, like, how long into the relationship until you said, like, or let her know kind of about the triggers that you have and things like that? Like, were you guys open, like, immediately, or?
We were open on certain stuff immediately. I'd say maybe a few months into it, but, like, our first few months of even, like, seeing each other, we weren't dating.
Okay.
Like, per se, you know, it was very much like, I'm into you. I like hanging out with you. She was separated at the time. So, like, going through divorce stuff. And so when I just remember the one night I was like, I just laid out, I was like, I like you a lot. I want to date you. Like, I don't care how long it takes. Like, I know you're going through this life stuff, but, like, this is what I want to do. I'm like, I'm not trying to, like, be like, right now it has to be a thing. Like, but, like, I am that much into you to where this is what I want. And she was very much like, I can't give you an answer. I can't even give you a timetable. She's like, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I guess if you want to still be around. And we were very much, like, monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
But even, like, up until that point, it was, and we've talked about it, where we didn't say it to each other, but it was like, you know, we're not dating. You can go see someone else if you want. But it was like, I'm going to be really sad if you do.
Yeah.
But, like, we're not dating, so I can't, like, tell you not to. But it just turns out we were both on that same page.
Well, and I mean, it's that weird, like self-preservation stage where, like, because you had both been through the shit that you'd been through, you know, in the back of your mind that, like, if you just thrust yourself into something, like, too quickly, then there's room for disaster. If you keep this level of separation, even if it's just formality, because you guys are being monogamous, because you loved hanging out with each other, like just having that thing to be like, because it's so funny that you say that like you could date other people if you want to, because that happened to me one time and I remember being like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you say that, but that sounds awful.
Well, that's why it was important for me personally early on to be like, I don't know where you're at. This is where I'm at. Like, just laying it out there. Like, if this isn't what you want, that's totally fine. But like, I am so into you. I'm like, holy shit, you're like the coolest person I've ever met.
Am I in a Paramore song right now? Because I'm into you.
Oh my God. No, she probably would have slammed a door in my face if I did that. But no, it was. God, sorry. It's so nice to look back on. Because like, just like when you look on like the shit like from before and how healthy things are.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of the only time like we'll ever like fight is if it's always a communication thing where it's like, you didn't tell me about this. Oh, I thought I did. I'm sorry. Like, and then you talk about it and then things are like, they're fine.
Yeah.
But it's so funny being like, that's kind of the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she gets mad at me if I forget to be like, hey, made it here safe. I'm like, I'm not even mad at that because like I'll do the same thing where it's like, I'm like, just please let me know you got there safe. Holy shit, I'm so invested in you. Like, and I care about you so much. I just want to know that you're to work safely.
Yeah.
That's all I care about at that time. So it's like, if not, it's like, here comes anxiety. Holy shit, she got in a car accident. Oh my God, what happened? Like,
I feel bad because I did that to Kim for so long, like not calling and not doing shit like that. If it's stuff that where like I'm pretty close to the house, I still don't do it. But if I go and do something in the cities, when I'm leaving, I call for sure.
Yeah. See, we're not even like, it doesn't even have to be a call. Just shoot me a text. Shoot me a Snapchat.
Oh,
that
sure.
You're at work. And, you know, it's something so, and I forget a lot because sometimes it'll be like, oh, yep, I made it to work at the carpet. Oh, like I parked at the same time as Adrian. Sorry, we're talking while we walked in.
Sure.
Got distracted. And it's always like dumb stuff like that. But, well, not dumb. Like, it's really important, but it's so minuscule, but it's something that's like just the calming you get when you get that, like, I'm safe. You're like,
okay. Yes.
Like, thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, like, dude. Yeah.
So again, but like for that to be the extent of like the anxiety that you get, where it's like, yeah, she performs burlesque. She bartends. She gets hit on constantly when she bartends. I'm not worried about it. Like, you know, like I've never been like I'll joke and be like, sorry, I can't be him.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like, oh, look at Tom Hardy. Oh, sorry, I can't be Tom Hardy.
I mean, can anybody?
For me, it would be like Daniel Craig. I'd be like, go on.
I love Daniel Craig. Come on.
That jawline.
Alex tried saying he was ugly one time, and I was like, dude, get off my lawn. What the fuck are you talking about?
Excuse me? We're going to have words. We're going to exchange unpleasantries.
Yeah.
You know, but like, it's stuff like that where it's like, we're both so happy and comfortable in it where it's like, yeah, you can, even before she started working at the bar, if I'm bartending, some dude's like, yeah, I'm buying.
You want to bring that thing a little closer.
She's like, oh, I'm buying her a shot. And I'm just like, cool. She's coming home with me. Like, yeah, spend your own money. Like, it's like my favorite.
Well, when I brought that up before, more of what I meant was like the way that I get nervous. There's a park near our house, and Landon and Layla will go there, just the two of them. Well, I mean, they'll go with their friends, but that anxiety of them, like the things that could happen. That's more of what I mean. Like somebody gets drunk and unruly, and the scary shit that can happen. That's the stuff that always circulates in my mind. Like I'm never worried about Kim running off with somebody else, because she was thinking about doing burlesque for a while too, and my concern was never of like the jealousy thing, because we both are like, if we get divorced, I'm never gonna date again. There's so much work. I'm at the point in my life where if it's like you could jerk off or you could take a nap every time. Like I just am, whatever. I'm good with where I'm at. So, but when it comes to that other shit, like it's the outliers.
Right. Which, it comes down to the, like, I trust you, I don't trust other people thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't ever want to use that as like a means to hold you back from doing something.
Right.
It's just a means of, I'm telling you this is like a worry of mine. Like, just give me some reassurance on it. Like, I don't know, like you said, like she's young, blonde, and hot. Like she could.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that. But.
No, well, I did. I did with my eyes and now my mouth.
I'm not saying you're not attractive, Julie. You're absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous young lady.
But yeah, like it's one of those where it's like, yeah, someone could, like, just grab them and go. What do you do?
Yeah,
it goes terrifying back to that, to think about.
Yeah, it goes back to that whole like you getting grabbed or me getting thrown. Like you don't know until it happens just how fucking powerless you can be.
Right. Yeah, so that's always like an anxiety thing. But like I said, like when she's performing, it's at the carpet. Even there's days where it's like I'll be off by like 1, and I got work in the morning. So I'm like, hey, I'm going home, and then I'll just check in with like Steven or somebody like, hey, can you just walk her to her car when she leaves?
Yeah,
like make sure she's getting out safe and stuff like that. And everyone's like, oh yeah, absolutely. So it's nice having people that, not just me, that care that much about her too, to where I'm like, she's safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the big thing for me is the safety aspect of things. Like that's why I've always cared about you guys, like not just on a physical level but on a mental level, because if you're mentally unsafe, then there's self-harm that can happen. There's bad choices that you can make where
right.
then you literally do end up being unsafe. So like that's always in the back of my mind is like I tell Kim this, like, so I hate going to my parents' house because there's a lake. The kids love going in the lake, but I'm constantly terrified that they're going to drown. And I will say, I wish I didn't feel this way. I can't help it though.
Right.
Like that, I would love to not give a shit and just let the kids swim and whatever and not be having to like constantly watch them. But I just can't get over that fear, because if something happened to you or the kids, like I would be devastated.
Right.
So in those moments, like I just can't help. I'm so like with the red carpet, like I'm constantly terrified that somebody's going to stab you guys, or I'm constantly terrified that like somebody's going to get kidnapped, or you know what I mean? Like
right.
Once you guys told me about the shit that can happen, now in my mind, I'm like, oh, now it's just when is it going to happen? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that my mind also does that. So, well,
so
like, what do we do?
Yeah, I know. Like,
but it's like you don't want to sit and live in that fear. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, you saying that security has gotten better and things like that, that makes me feel better for sure. Because what else can you do?
Right. Well, and I've always thought, like, even just like driving home, like it's weird to think about. Sometimes in my head, I'm like, I'm just one dude having a bad day away from veering into my lane.
Yep.
Like it's such a weird thought to have while driving.
Yeah.
But it's like, holy shit, Like if any of these people wanted to just be like, all right, fuck everybody, they could. And what do you do?
I shot a wedding where the groom's mom, that's exactly what happened to her. Somebody drove purposefully the wrong way down, I forget if it was Highway 10 or someplace where the speed limit was like, the guy was going like 65.
Okay.
So not a crazy amount of speed, but fast enough to, fucking kill somebody for sure. Drove into the wrong lane on purpose to try and kill himself. Nothing ended up happening to him, but his mom became paralyzed from the neck down. And
so shitty.
Yeah. The reason why it sucks is because so often nothing happens to the person who did it. It's everybody around them that gets affected.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Which also, a little callback brings me to the, let me know when you got somewhere
Yeah.
safe. Because it's like, I have that anxiety going on. Where it's
and it's a good analogy really for, like, let's say somebody gets sent to prison, right? Let's say somebody stabs one of you guys at the carpet and they go to jail. More than likely, that person was pretty isolated, probably a piece of shit. They go to jail. It doesn't affect them the same way that it affects the community of people that cared about that person. So it's the same thing. Somebody driving into the wrong lane or somebody being stupid enough to think that they can fucking, try to end somebody's life. It ruins dozens and dozens of other people's lives, not just this one person. It's not this isolated thing.
And you can be like, yeah, like, say court system works, they're locked up. It's like, that's the bare minimum of what should be happening right now. Because now it's like, I'm still going to have that anxiety of my friends or myself going places, It's never It's never not a thought at that point, I guess.
Yeah, it's that ripple effect.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's people that live with like miniature anxiety that don't even know that they're one bad incident away from having full-blown anxiety for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that happens in the now forever. I have to be on anxiety meds, or I have to know where all the exits are. I've met quite a few people who have to know where all the exits are, or they can't relax. They can't like feel safe unless they know exactly how they would get out of here. Like even to me, like they'll be like, if you attacked me, how am I going to get out of here? And it's like, God, if I attacked you, my back would fall apart. Like I've got one attack left in me, and it's to throw myself at somebody who breaks into our house, and that's it. If I try to fight anybody, I'm paralyzed afterwards. Could you not? You're so disgusting. Why do you have to do that?
I had to burp. I'm sorry. Just I could have done it in the mic.
I've probably burped into the mic, and I
Joke's on you. I've been farting the whole time.
Farts are fine.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put the mic next to it next time.
Yeah, we're all about butt burps.
It's ASMR.
Yes.
That's what the ending of this is gonna be.
It's ASSMR.
Oh shit.
ASMR.
ASMR.
Well, dude, I mean, so
but like I just want to comment on like what you said about like the anxiety stuff and like how something can like full blown it. Like I don't like heights. I don't like water. i.e., I do not like bridges that go over water. Never have. And then when the 35W bridge collapsed, it sent me into a panic to where like me and Julie were out in Portland and they have some very high bridges out there.
They sure do.
And we were just like, there was one, it was a shorter bridge. Like, okay, it's short, I can handle it. I'm driving. There's a stoplight at the end of the bridge. So we are now stopped on the bridge. And I am physically like, I'm crying sitting on this bridge because I am so anxious and terrified of it. I'm like crying. I am like about to break her hand. I am holding it so tight. Like I am a wreck. until we get off this bridge. And so now it's like, if we're doing bridges, I have to like stare at the license plate in front of me.
Yeah.
And like go into some deep breathing with it. Otherwise, I will cry on bridges.
Fuck.
Like, it's terrifying to me.
Oh, yeah, I bet. You have taken control of your mental health, and you're such more of a proud advocate for mental health, and you're very aware of things that could potentially push someone to like negatively impact their mental health. And so I've noticed that about you in the way that you talk to people. Like, we'll fuck with people all day long, but I've noticed you're very quick to recognize an actual issue that may happen. And so you find a way to try and comfort this person, whether it's self-deprecation on your own part or whatever. I mean, so when you are having like a tough day, or like something's affecting your depression or anxiety or whatever, what are the things that you do? Like, what are your coping mechanisms?
Nowadays, it's a lot of, well, I now have an outlet with Julie where I can like vent about my day.
Mm.
A lot of it, I'm very, what's the word?
Gay.
Shit, you got me. Everyone thinks I am.
I mean, everyone.
Which I take
just,
as a compliment at this point. I'm like, yeah, gay people are awesome.
Everyone's a little gay.
Yeah.
It's the people who don't admit to that part. When I say everyone's a little gay and somebody goes, mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, okay, bud. I didn't know
flash.
you were really gay.
Newsflash.
But also just accept it. Like Satan says, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
That's why we have this LGBTQ trans flag, is because Satan supports all of them.
Yes, he does. The church will tell you that too. I'm like, thank you. He does, doesn't he? But no, I'm so extroverted to the point where it's like, I need to be around people.
Mm.
If I'm having like a really rough day, I'm like, well, I need to go out. I need to be around people because that'll give me good positive energy.
Yeah.
And it'll help not only like take my mind off things, but like help me be like, all right, like I'm doing things I like with people that I like I'm having a good time. Like the whole day doesn't have to be shit because of it, like it used to be for me. Outside of that, like it's a lot of I draw a lot from music, as I know you do too.
Oh yeah.
So putting music on, I like stuff where I have to use my brain a lot. Like I'll play Minesweeper on my phone.
Okay.
I'll do a puzzle if I have time to do it. Sometimes I'm just like, I just need a nap.
Yeah.
Or I need to throw on, Avatar or Big Mouth. Stuff I find comfort in watching and kind of go there. I don't really do a lot. Like, and it's nice that it's gotten to that point where it doesn't like take much for me to climb out of it.
Yeah.
But also I've become more of like, I don't let myself fall as far down into it.
Ah, yeah.
Which was a problem for me a lot.
God, that's such a good point.
Being younger, and it's something I've learned about myself, and where I try to stay as even keen as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed if like I go on a trip to see my friend out east,
mm-hmm.
if I'm there for like a week, like that's such a high for me.
Oh, yeah.
That the next 2 weeks I'm going to be in a low.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's almost too much for me to handle, to where leaving, like, I think I've cried every flight home. Like, and I know it's coming. And so now it's like, now that I have someone who's also emotionally invested in me, like I have to tell her like, hey, like I'm probably going to be down for the next week or so.
Yeah.
Like just try to bear with it, because it's something I know is coming. And so I can kind of prepare for it. But outside of that, I don't try to, just in everyday life, I don't try to get overtly excited over something. And then I also don't try to get like overtly negative over stuff.
Yeah.
Which
and
a lot of people see as just, oh, you're so chill.
Oh.
It's like, no, I am very high strung in here. But I'm like doing like, they're almost like exercises so that I stay where I need to be, where I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I mean.
And I don't know if anyone else does that, but like, it's just something I've recognized that I've had to do because like, I don't like medication. It doesn't do good things for me that it should.
Okay.
Like it has in the
What
past.
kind of medication were you... Like, why were you prescribed medication?
Oh, I was insanely depressed.
Okay.
Like, in my teens. Into, like, I think I got off medication when I was, like, 20.
Okay, so you had, like, major depressive disorder?
Mm-hmm. And, so... And then, like, anxiety with it, but, like, I feel like that's everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's like...
Well, we're finding that the more that...
It's like peeing when you poop.
Yeah. The more that civilization advances, because we have this thing in the back of our mind that was built to force you to do things in order to survive, because that thing is not really needed anymore. Like, we don't have to be aware of wolves or, like, natural predators.
Right.
And we don't really have to do like hunter-gatherer shit. So because this thing isn't being used, you feel like something's wrong. And for some people that's heightened because you don't need I don't need my survival skill anymore.
Yeah.
How can that be possible? So it seems they're finding that like that seems to be the correlation, because like when animals are in zoos, I forget how long it takes, but they become depressed, most of them. Like, they lie around all the time. They don't do anything, and a lot of them will stop eating, and it's because your survival skill is taken away. The way that you lived every single day is gone. So for us, I don't know if eventually we'll evolve and we won't have that thing in the back of our head anymore, but this subconscious thing... that's why we have dopamine.
Well, I think that's interesting when it comes to humans, because I think we don't evolve from it. I think that the means of survival evolves, to where it's like, okay, I don't need to go pick berries and hope it's not, a bad day for me to get crops or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, it's no longer that. It's now, how am I going to get to work?
Yeah.
How am I going to provide for my family? Like, so the survival means evolves to where we have to now, like, oh, I'm not going to go here because there's a good chance where I could get stabbed. Or, like, I'm not going to mess with this person because they're going to kick the shit out of me.
Yeah. Well, so much of it, though, is like hypotheticals. So we're having to do all of these mental things to try and figure it out. So it's your midbrain would send that dopamine, right? Up to be like, you went and got water. Good job. Let's make sure that we remember and we do that again.
That was neat.
Now your brain is like, I don't know which thing we're supposed to be... I don't know what the fuck survival means anymore. Like, if you play guitar, that means you're happy, so you're surviving? I don't fucking know. So, like, you have to figure these things out and, like, retrain your brain or evolve your thought process to match up. Yeah.
You masturbated? Is that surviving? But we're taking a nap afterwards.
Yeah. Like, we feel good, but we felt good, but now we feel like we let everyone down. Like, what?
You didn't close out quick enough. Now we're really sad. Yeah. So it's so weird.
But it's an interesting thing. Like, the thing that you were saying about not letting yourself like indulge in it as much as you used to is such a huge thing. Because like I was saying before, the whole listening to sad music when you're sad. Like there's I think intense emotion is such a strong thing that we don't experience all that often. So when something truly depressing or truly, heartbreaking happens, there's some aspect of you that just really wants to give it the weight that it deserves. So you look for the recipes to be like, what are the things that like really fucking get me going?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, I mean, I watched fucking surprise adoption, like proposal things last night for like an hour. I was just crying at my desk like, this is awesome. I love this.
Well, yeah, and it's dumb where it's like, oh, I won't cry for this, but I'll cry for like, I don't know. What gets me are like and I don't know why they get me so hard, because no, they don't get me hard. They hit me hard. I'm gonna really specify that with this one, but it's like the photos of like your brother coming home from war that you haven't seen in 2 years, or like the dad with the family, or like the dude who's now getting like a service dog like surprise, like, or like dogs who haven't seen someone in like 3 years just going nuts. I'm like, that'll get me to cry.
Yeah.
Like the dogs especially, because I'm like, oh, they're so happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at them. Like that, such raw emotion with it. Just eat that shit up.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
And it's just waterworks. Or like people, like if I'm watching a show I'm like attached to. And like people crying in the show. I'm right there with you.
Well, I mean, I could go on and on forever, but we've been recording for 2 hours, so I have to put the kibosh on it for now.
That's fair.
I
gotta get to work later. Anyway,
okay. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, I fucking love you, dude. Thank you so much for doing this.
Love you too, Chris.
Anything else you want to leave for the peoples?
No, just take care of yourselves. Like,
that's fantastic. Well,
take care of yourselves. Take care of others. Be a good person.
Yes.
All the cliches.
Yeah.
Like,
because they're cliches, they're easy to dismiss, so people forget to do them.
But it is worth putting out there.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for listening, and as always, be well to yourselves.